everyone. Thanks for staying tuned in to our January virtual exchange. I'm Marie Albajes. I am the managing editor of Women in Retail and Total Retail. I'm thrilled to introduce our next speakers. We'll be hearing from Jennifer Barron, the Vice President of Marketing, and Margot Novak, the Director of Customer and Product Marketing at Searchspring. Before I bring them in, following this interview, we'll have Catherine Finder, the Chief Merchandising Officer of Anthropologie Home, coming to talk to us. So Jennifer and Margot, I'm going to bring you in. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much, Marie. It's really great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yes, we're so excited.
Great. So I know today we want to talk about connecting with e-commerce customers through data-driven personalization. So I want to dive right into questions. Searchspring recently had a report on achieving e-commerce success through data-driven strategies and trends. And that report showed that 41% of businesses are prioritizing more personalized shopping experiences in 2025. We're seeing this play out in real time, right? So Jen, why don't you start with, why do you think personalization has become such a critical focus for e-commerce brands?
Sure. I think it has really become a critical focus because personalization has just shifted from being a nice to have to an absolute necessity. Shoppers are expecting it everywhere. If you think about how Netflix curates your watch list or Shopify curates your playlist, those experiences are just standard, and consumers expect to see that and have that level of familiarity, whether they're shopping for furniture or skincare. And in that Thrive report that you mentioned, we surveyed over 500 e-commerce professionals. And as you mentioned, 41% of businesses are prioritizing personalization. And I really think that's because it not only drives conversions and loyalty, but the personalized experience makes shoppers feel understood, like the brand really gets them. So it goes beyond meeting those expectations of today. It anticipates what shoppers will want for tomorrow and really make sure that it sets the foundation so it ensures those long-term customer relationships.
And I'm sure that that number is just going to go up, right? Margot, I want to bring you in and talk about, how online shopper expectations have really shifted over the last few years. What is really driving that shift in what the customer wants?
Absolutely. That's such a good question. I mean, I think we really have to go back to the pandemic because it was such an accelerator for shoppers, for buyers, for understanding and getting used to the idea of what they can buy online and have shipped to their home. And I think now that we are back in a hybrid shopping environment, customers are bringing those same expectations to brick and mortar stores as well. And I think we're seeing really savvy buyers who are wanting to say, like, well, online, I can be logged in, the platform will greet me by name, will have an idea of what I've shopped for before. And I think they're wanting to feel that in stores as well. And I think particularly women as shoppers and buyers too. Shopify did a study a few years ago about buying power and personalization and loyalty. And they found that in particular, like, men as shoppers, they have a few products that they always buy. They're very loyal. They just kind of want the same thing. They don't change their mind very often. But women shoppers are much more open to, if they have a bad experience, if they see a great ad for a new product, they're more willing to try different products and brands. And the other part of that is whereas men usually just buy for themselves, women are buying for the home, for the kids, the pets, the in-laws, the Christmas presents, and themselves. And so their buying power is just really huge. And when you think about how much they want to be catered to and known as a buyer, personalization becomes even more important because so many of those categories, they're the decision maker for. And I think that real shift in the last few years is just the answer is personalization.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious how loyalty and retention kind of play into that. Jen, maybe you can take this one. What role does personalization play in building that customer loyalty, building that customer retention, especially in such a, competitive e-commerce landscape?
Sure. So personalization, it's really at the heart of loyalty, right? Even if you think about brick and mortar and the old-fashioned Main Street, walking down the street and walking into a store and having somebody say hello, your name, having that personal connection. People still want that even when they're shopping online. And then it's not just about driving that first conversion, it's about bringing customers back the second, the third. um, Customers really feel understood if they're likely to stay loyal that way. If they're getting that personalized experience, it leads them faster to the results that they want online. Everybody wants the quickest, fastest, and easiest option. I mean, that's why a lot of people turn to those big box stores like Amazon. We hear people say all the time, oh, they just make it so easy, right? Well, they remember their customers. They remember what they've shopped for. They know who they are. So those personalized product recommendations, they can really drive up to 30% of revenue for e-commerce businesses. When you show shoppers that you get them, whether it's surfacing their favorite brands or really tailoring recommendations based on what they've not only shopped for before, but maybe other data points that you know about them, that creates not only the trust, but it builds that familiarity.
Yeah, you touched on my next question a little bit. Obviously you're capturing all of this customer data when you personalize, your outreach. So, any advice, Margot, for how businesses can really leverage that customer data and segment their audiences a little bit better for, targeted email, SMS outreach, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, a brand has to be able to do this at scale, right? And so being able to have tools in their back pocket that says, all right, I know that I have a segment of customers who are ready to start shopping for swimsuits. Like, let's do a campaign for them. Well, how do you find that group? How do you identify them? How do you make them feel special and seen? And that's where Searchspring has had really great results because we can leverage our partnerships with other tech partners like Klaviyo, Attentive, Digital, and say, all right, you can use e-commerce brand manager here, your search data that you're getting from customers from Searchspring, and then port it right into your other platforms. And then you can make these campaigns really personalized. And so I think just being able to make sure you're moving your customer data across your whole tech stack really makes your personalization game a lot stronger.
Yeah, that's some really good advice. Jen, I would love for you to leave us with maybe one example of a success story of a company that you worked with that's really, personalizing the on-site shopping experience.
Or absolutely. So I think one of the customers that I like to turn to as a favorite example of this is a client of ours in the furniture industry. They use SearchSpring's dynamic custom profiles to tailor recommendations in real time. So, for instance, a shopper who may be searching for something like mid century modern coffee table, they not only see relevant products come up, but also complementary items like a matching side table or decor or that kind of thing. This approach has really driven a significant lift in AOV for them. And it's exciting to see because it's not just about finding that perfect product, it's about inspiring that full vision and again, bringing back that loyalty and repeat business. So, leveraging that personalization in search, recommendations, bundling, by doing all of that, they create this experience that feels more like a curated showroom rather than just a website that they're visiting.
Right, super helpful. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Margot. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Lots of great insights coming our way. So, thank you again for speaking with me.
Thank you so much for having us. Really excited to be here.
Thank you. This was great.